I'm at the Gladstone Theatre in Ottawa to see London Trio Plus. The London Trio Plus is a gospel group with 11 female singers. They are Vanessa London, Lydia Grant, Jalisa Bernadin, Terry-Ann Wint Scarpa de Marcellus, Chantal Ritchie, Janice Daniel, Sherry Shea Reed, Chanel London, Celeste London, Valerie London, and Janice Anderson. The band had Orville Daniel and Clayton Connell interchanging between piano and bass, and Jamie Holmes on percussions. Personally, the setting was fitting for the size and style of this concert, which was pretty small and intimate. The venue had a rigged seating style, which allowed for a clear vision of the singers from every seat. There were 2 speakers facing the audience on both sides of the room, and I was sitting directly in the middle of the seating area, which gave me the most balanced visual and auditory experience. While the visual setup worked well, there were a few noticeable issues with the sound. Each of the 11 singers had their own microphone, which meant that the sound technicians were responsible for mixing and managing 11 different vocal inputs. Unfortunately, this reality resulted in an uneven balance between the singers, as some microphones were louder than the others. In moments when individual singers were featured, the soloist microphones were not always loud enough, diminishing the impact of some of the songs. Additionally, it was clear that the singers could not always hear themselves, even though there were 3 monitors pointing towards them, suggesting that the sound on stage was not ideal either. On a positive note, the band's volume was well balanced with the singers, and it was never overpowering the vocals, but instead providing strong and supportive accompaniment throughout the performance. The overall flow of the concert captivated the audience from beginning to end. It started with Every Praise by Hezekiah Walker, a well-known upbeat song that immediately set an energetic and welcoming tone. This was followed by other engaging pieces like He Reigns Forever by the Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir. As the concert progressed, there was an organized balance between fast and slow tempo songs, solos, and performances by invited guests, which allowed the concert to feel dynamic. The event concluded with Total Praise by Richard Smallwood, with all invited guests on stage. Starting and ending the concert with familiar repertoire helps create a sense of excitement and cohesion throughout the evening. I have been to a number of the group's concerts, so I was familiar with most of the songs they sang, with the exception of a few new additions. The event was clearly a gospel concert with some traditional Christian, Christmas, and African American music influence. For example, they sang gospel renditions of Angels We Have Heard on High and Silent Night. They also performed Take It to the Lord in Prayer, a piece included in YUGC's fall repertoire. Hearing the song from a different group helped me have a better understanding of how interpretation can change the emotional impact of a song. The singers approached the song with authenticity and emotion, reinforcing what we learned in class about connecting personally to the lyrics in order to convey a message despite our religious beliefs. The London Trio Plus demonstrated exceptional vocal technique. Each member comes from a different vocal background, including classical, pop, and gospel, resulting in varied tone colors and timbres. Rather than allowing these differences to clash, the group put work into blending their tones to create a rich and unique gospel sound. They did this by singing similar vowels, changing their tone depending on the song, controlling when they use their vibrato, and emphasizing pronunciation. The band was also very impressive. They had no in-ear monitors or click tracks, relying solely on listening skills and visual cues from the keyboardist who acted as band director. This demonstrated a high level of musicianship and professionalism. Their stage presence improved the event, drawing the audience's attention. During upbeat songs, the singers danced and clapped, while slower songs featured passionate hand movement and facial expressions. This added to the authenticity and style of the gospel sound and aligns with YUGC teachings, where physical expression is required of us to enhance musical selections. What stood out most was the sense of community throughout the evening. Most of the audience members were family, colleague, and fellow church members of the group who came in support. The singers served as MCs, sharing personal testimonies and words of encouragement while also inviting the audience to sing along to certain songs. This interaction, combined with other small moments, really added to the atmosphere of love, joy, and collectivity, which are all central elements of the gospel performance. As a vocalist learning in gospel choir, there are 3 takeaways from this concert that could help me improve my own technique. First, stage presence is essential in gospel music. It's not just about how much you're moving your body and smiling, but it's also about how you're conveying the emotion and story of a song through different techniques. The London Trio Plus singers were not only engaging their audience through their facial expressions, but through dynamics and diction, for example. Therefore, in practice, we shouldn't just focus on memorizing the music and dance moves, but also work on specific dynamics in the song, learning the meaning behind the lyrics, taking breaths at the right spots, and practicing sound placement. This way, we're not just performing at the audience, but we're bringing them along the song's journey, making the music more powerful. Second, intentional and proper breath control is crucial, especially when singing and dancing simultaneously. The artists in the London Trio Plus moved and danced all throughout the performance, yet their sound remained supported and controlled. I observed that each singer kept their upper body relaxed and they breathed from their diaphragm. When we sing and dance, it's easy for tension to build up in our shoulders, stopping us from getting a proper breath. This is especially true for me because I get really excited and active when I sing, but by the end of each song, I don't have enough breath for the next one. To improve, I can keep the same energy, but I have to be more mindful of keeping my shoulders relaxed and breathing properly. Obviously, this improvement can be achieved by practicing more intentionally. Third and last, articulation, diction, and tone all work together. Every singer in the performance shaped their vowels and said their lyrics in similar ways, creating a blended and rounded tone. For example, they would sing, "Lord, I will lift," rounding out the vowels and emphasizing consonants, instead of "Lord, I will lift," where that strategy is just throwing away the consonants and not specifying the difference between O and ah and other vowels. Their intentional placement reminded me how important it is to be precise in performance and in practice, especially when singing in a large group. Even if there's a specific sound or tone that I would use in a solo, for example, that tone may not translate to the same in a choir setting. So I need to pay more attention to how people around me are singing and what the professor asks of me.